This dictation will be started within 5 seconds. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, our Honorable Minister shall reply to the debate tomorrow. I do not want to take much time of the House because more time should be given to the honorable members for expressing their views. I will make my submission in brief. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, you all know that education has been a part of human life since man first developed a culture of his own. From time to time, the philosophers and thinkers from our country and abroad have emphasized that education is a fundamental need of human life. The same sentiment has been expressed by our reformers and revolutionaries before and after independence. But there can be no two opinions about the fact that after 1984 maximum discussion on education and new education policy has taken place inside the parliament and outside. The fact that it has been a subject of maximum discussion during the last 2 years proves that the national policy on education, which was formulated in 1986, was awakened aspirations and expectations of the people. No one can disagree with the point that the amount of discussion which has taken place in the House since 1984 has perhaps never been in evidence before. It has become a history in itself. Our youthful Prime Minister, realizing the need of the hour and keeping in view our march towards progress, conceived the new education policy with his creative personality, imagination, and constructive approach, and our competent minister, who is sitting here at present, gave it its present form and shape. It is as a result of his personality and his experience in the field of education that we are discussing so thoroughly this important topic of education. This budget session has also been historic as far as the subject of education is concerned. The Honorable Prime Minister has stated during this session, and the same was stated earlier also, that the national education policy is an effective instrument for fighting poverty, and without it we cannot bring about a revolution in our society, and its main aim has been to provide resources to the poor and the exploited so that they may become the architects of their own destiny. No one can deny the fact that education is lever to progress. The Honorable Prime Minister has stated that the new education policy is a powerful instrument for fighting poverty. The people who are socially and economically backward should be able to realize as to how to make use of their rights which have been guaranteed to them under the Constitution. The honorable members have discussed the matter in all seriousness. It is the essence of our new education policy, which was prepared in 1986. The fact that the amount allocated for education has been increased from rupees 352 crores last year to rupees 825 crores this year is a positive proof of the interest being taken by the government in the implementation of the program of action chalk out later. The aim of our national education policy of the program of action, economic and cultural changes. Keeping in view this aim, we first tried to meet in full the requirements in the rural areas. The attention of the majority of our honorable members has been drawn to the primary education and the current year special schemes are being drawn up for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Such schemes had been prepared earlier as well. In regard to women's education, some honorable members have stated that not much has been done in this regard this year. I will say that we have made women's education free. The central government instructs the state governments in this regard. About the blanket statements made in the House instructs the honorable members have right to express their views, but they should give specific instances of schools where irregularities are being committed so that we may look into them. We have worked out the details of primary education and we are going to implement in the 20% of our subdivisions. We feel that in all single teacher schools, 2 teachers should be provided, one of whom should be a lady teacher, and we are going to implement it strictly. Along with it, the basic requirements of the education will also be fulfilled. It is true that an amount of rupees 100 crores may not be adequate for the purpose, but we are not going to fulfill these requirements in one go. It will be done in a phased manner. Besides this, the states have got their own budgets. They will also do it through the various programs in the different states. A number of points have been raised about the state governments. It is true that education is now a concurrent subject, but it was not so previously. Education has been a state subject for 30 years, but we are not shirking our responsibility only because it has been included in the concurrent list. The honorable member said that central government wants to shirk its responsibilities by passing the buck on the state governments. We do not want to shirk our responsibilities, but we also do not want to impose anything on anybody. We want to implement the important points which would emerge after consultation with the state governments. In this connection, I have myself visited at least 10 states and have held meetings with the chief ministers and the education ministers of those states. Also, when our Prime Minister spoke about national education policy in this House, he wrote letters to the chief ministers, and our Honorable Minister also wrote letters to the chief ministers, and I have myself written letters. Letters are being written every month, and the Education Ministers' Conference is being held. They are called here because we want that there should be coordination at the national level.